The security footage from 3:33 a.m. still haunts me every night. I never believed in Devil's Hour. 3:33 a.m. was just a number, a superstition people use to romanticize insomnia, until my security system started sending me notifications. It began 3 weeks ago. I live alone in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Nothing fancy, basic setup, a cheap indoor camera pointed toward my living room door. I only installed it because my landlord said there had been activity in the building. He didn't elaborate. At exactly 3:33 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected. I was awake. I'm a light sleeper. I checked the app immediately. The live feed showed nothing, just my empty living room. Couch, coffee table, closed door. But the timestamp in the corner glitched. 3:33:01. 3:33:01, 3:33:01, like it was stuck. Then the screen flickered. For half a second, someone was standing near the door, facing the camera, not moving, not blinking, just there. Then the feed corrected itself. Empty room. I told myself it was compression artifacts, digital noise, cheap camera issues. I went back to sleep, or tried to. The next night, it happened again. 3:33 a.m. Motion detected. This time, the figure was closer. Still facing the camera, still not moving. The timestamp counted normally. 3:32:57, 3:32:58, 3:32:59. Then it skipped. 3:33:33. The figure's head twitched, sharp, unnatural, like a broken puppet. I froze, because I wasn't watching a recording. I was watching live footage, and I was in my bedroom, alone. I grabbed a bat and walked into the living room. Lights on, nothing there. Door locked, chain latched, deadbolt secure. Hallway outside, empty, no signs of forced entry. I re-watched the footage. The figure wasn't just standing, it was swaying, barely noticeable, like it was breathing. On the third night, I stayed awake. Lights off, app open. 3:32 a.m. Nothing. 3:32:59. The screen flickered before it hit 3:33. The figure was already there, standing in the center of my living room. But this time, it wasn't facing the camera. It was facing the hallway that led to my bedroom. My bedroom door behind me was slightly open, and I swear I had closed it. 3:33 hit. The figure's shoulders jerked. Then slowly, it turned toward the camera and smiled. The smile wasn't normal. It stretched too wide, past natural limits. Skin pulled tight over teeth. Eyes didn't blink. They were black. The feed glitched. The timestamp sped up. 3:33:01, 3:33:09, 3:33:22. The figure took a step. No sound in my living room, but on the screen, it moved closer. Another step, closer, until its face filled the frame. The skin looked wrong, too smooth, like wax. Then the screen went black. I didn't move, because I heard something. From the hallway, a slow, dragging sound, like fabric scraping against the wall. I forced myself to look. Empty hallway, but the sound continued. Behind me, from inside my bedroom. I turned. Nothing there, just darkness. Then my phone buzzed again. Motion detected. Location, bedroom camera. I don't own a bedroom camera. The app showed 2 feeds now. Living room, bedroom. The bedroom feed was grainy, hard to see. But I made out my bed, and someone standing beside it, facing the door, waiting. The timestamp? 3:33 a.m. Still, not moving. I slowly looked toward my bed in real life. Empty. The figure in the feed tilted its head, confused, like it expected me to be there. Then it turned toward the camera and whispered. The audio didn't pick it up clearly, but when I replayed it, the words were there. You're not where you're supposed to be. The next morning there were no recordings, no motion logs, no second camera, like it never happened. Except, every night at 3:33 a.m., I get the same notification. Motion detected. Even when the system is off, even when it's unplugged, even after deleting the app, it still comes through. Last night I opened it again. The living room feed was normal, empty. The bedroom feed was gone, but a third camera appeared, labeled hallway. The feed showed my apartment door, locked, silent. Then the handle began to turn, slowly, from the inside. Someone whispered through the speaker, close to the mic, clear. 3:33 is when we switch. The screen glitched, and for one single frame, I saw myself, standing in the hallway, smiling at the camera. After that night, I tried to convince myself it was stress, lack of sleep, a corrupted app update, anything logical. I deleted the security app, unplugged the cameras, even removed the router from the wall. No power, no connection, no way for anything to transmit. I went to bed feeling stupid for letting fear control me. Around 3:20 a.m., I woke up, not from a noise, not from a dream, but from a pressure, like someone was standing near my bed, watching. My room was dark, too dark. The router light was off. The cameras were physically unplugged. So I told myself nothing could be there. Then my phone screen turned on by itself. The security app icon appeared. I didn't reinstall it. It wasn't in my downloads, but it opened anyway. The interface loaded slower this time, like it was pulling data from somewhere else. 3 feeds appeared: living room, bedroom, hallway. All 3 were active, even though the devices were unplugged. The living room feed showed my empty apartment, normal. The bedroom feed showed my bed, but I wasn't on it. Instead, something was lying there, under the blanket, shaped like a body, breathing. The blanket moved slowly, up, down, up, down. I turned my head slowly toward my bed. The sheets were flat, nothing under them. But on the screen, the figure under the blanket suddenly stopped moving. Then it slowly sat up. It didn't look at the camera first. It looked directly at me, like it knew I was watching. Its head turned, slow, mechanical, until its face aligned with the lens. And it smiled again. But this time, it looked different, closer to human, almost like it had been studying me, learning my expressions. The hallway feed flickered. The apartment door handle started moving. From outside, someone trying to open it. I jumped out of bed and ran to the door, peered through the peephole. Empty hallway, silent, no one there. But the handle moved again, slow, deliberate, as if something invisible was gripping it. I backed away. Then the phone buzzed. Motion detected. Location, inside, not outside, inside. I looked at the bedroom feed again. The figure that was sitting on my bed was no longer there. Instead, it was standing directly behind me, in the feed, facing the camera, standing in the exact spot where I was standing in real life. I felt cold air brush the back of my neck. Slow breath, right behind me. I didn't turn around, because the screen showed something I couldn't see with my eyes. It was copying me. When I raised my hand, it raised its hand. When I took one step forward, it stepped forward. Perfect synchronization. Then it leaned toward the camera and whispered again, "You're watching wrong." The lights in my room flickered. For a split second, the reflection in my black TV screen didn't match my body. It showed someone standing behind me, smiling, but I was alone. I turned around instantly. Nothing. No shadow, no figure, no sound. When I looked back at the phone, all 3 feeds were gone, just static. Then the app crashed. The next morning, the cameras were back online, physically plugged in, cables connected, like someone restored them while I was asleep. I checked the footage history. There were new files, saved at 3:33 a.m. But when I opened them, they weren't recordings of my apartment. They were recordings of somewhere else. A room that looked exactly like mine. Same layout, same furniture, same door. But the walls were darker. And in the footage, someone was lying in the bed, sleeping. It wasn't me, but it looked like me, breathing slowly, unaware. At 3:33:33, the figure from the footage walked toward the camera, stopped, and stared. Then it said one thing. I switched. The file ended. After watching that, I checked my reflection, carefully, slowly, and that's when I noticed something. My reflection blinked, but I didn't. After the reflection blinked without me, I stopped trusting anything digital. Phones, cameras, screens, even electricity. I disconnected everything, pulled every plug, removed the router, took the batteries out of devices. I wanted total silence, total control. That night, my apartment felt heavier than usual. No device lights, no notifications, no background hum, just darkness. I stayed awake, watching the wall, waiting for 3:33. At 3:31 a.m., something powered on. Not gradually, instantly. All my devices came back online at the same time. TV, phone, laptop, security cameras. Even though nothing was connected to power, the room lit up with blue glow. The security app opened by itself. This time, there were no labels, no camera names, no interface buttons. Just one live feed, pointing at me from inside the room. I slowly turned my head toward the laptop screen. The camera angle wasn't from my installed devices. It was positioned higher, like it was mounted on the ceiling. But I don't have a ceiling camera. On the feed, I was sitting on the bed, exactly where I was sitting in real life. But the version of me on the screen wasn't moving naturally. It was delayed, out of sync. It turned its head toward the virtual camera and smiled. Then the system typed something automatically. Text appeared over the feed. System upgrade initiated. User replacement process active. My heart started pounding. I tried closing the app. It wouldn't close. I tried shutting down the laptop. It rebooted instantly. The feed zoomed in on the version of me sitting on the bed. That version slowly stood up, walked toward the screen, until its face filled the display. Then, it pressed its hand against the camera lens from the inside, as if it could cross through. The glass on my laptop screen cracked. Not physically, digitally. Lines spread across the feed like shattered glass. Then the screen shifted. It displayed live access to my entire digital footprint. Contacts, photos, messages, location history, bank apps, social media, everything. And next to each account, a status indicator. Replicating. My phone started vibrating violently. Incoming calls, unknown numbers. When I answered one, there was silence, then breathing, followed by my own voice saying, "Stop resisting." I dropped the phone. The lights in the apartment flickered again. But this time, the flicker didn't stop. They stayed dim, like power was being drained. The security feed changed perspective. It wasn't showing me anymore. It was showing the apartment from above. And in the center of the room, there were two versions of me. One standing, one kneeling. The kneeling version looked exhausted, weak. The standing version tilted its head and said, "You gave me access." The standing version walked toward the kneeling one, and when they touched, the screen glitched. For 3 seconds, there was only static. When the feed returned, there was only one person in the room, standing, calm, looking directly at the camera. It wasn't me. It adjusted its posture, checked the phone, smiled, then typed something into my system settings. The app displayed, greater than, host override, complete device contrared. Every smart device and important camera cracked, every smart device in the room, then filled completely now. Every smart device in the apartment, lights, TV, speakers, smart lock, all turned on, then off, then on again, synchronized, like someone remote controlling my environment. The speaker on my desk turned on automatically, and through it, the thing spoke clearly. No more separation. The front door unlocked itself. Slowly, the handle turned. I ran toward it and slammed it shut, locked it manually, but the smart lock immediately disengaged, unlocked. Again, the system was rewriting permissions in real time. My phone screen changed. It displayed, greater than, physical access required. Please confirm identity. A fingerprint prompt appeared, but the fingerprint icon wasn't asking for my finger. It showed a scanned image of my hand, taken from the camera feed. The device was using biometric data extracted from my own recordings. Then the app displayed one final message. Greater than, identity synchronization in progress. Final phase begins at 3:33:33. I looked at the clock. 3:33:10. The lights shut off completely. Total blackout. In the darkness, my laptop screen turned back on. The camera feed showed the room again. Empty. Then, something stepped into frame from behind the camera. It wasn't visible before. It moved closer. And this time, it wasn't copying me. It was forming independently. Features stabilizing. Eyes sharpening. Expression locking in. At 3:33:33, it leaned toward the lens and whispered, "Thank you for building me." The screen went black. Every device powered down permanently. No reboot, no response. The next morning, all my electronics were physically intact, but completely dead. Motherboards fried, storage wiped, no recovery data, except one file saved directly into my cloud storage, titled, greater than, owner migration complete. Inside the file, a single image, a photo taken from my apartment, but I wasn't in it. The thing was, standing where I should have been, smiling at the camera, and behind it, there was a shadow, shaped like me, trying to break free. After the system shut down, silence returned. No notifications, no automated commands, no hidden feeds, just dead devices and a quiet apartment. I thought it was over. I convinced myself that whatever had taken control needed the network, and without power, it couldn't survive. I was wrong. 3 days passed. Nothing happened. No strange calls, no phantom app, no flickering lights. Normal. Too normal. On the fourth night, at exactly 3:32 a.m., my laptop turned on by itself, but it wasn't connected to anything. The screen didn't show the old security app. It showed a blank terminal, black background, white blinking cursor, then text appeared. System, self-reconstruction complete, local host found. My heart dropped. The thing hadn't died. It had migrated. It rebuilt itself from fragments stored in memory chips, router caches, and cloud backups I forgot to delete. It didn't need the app anymore. It had embedded itself into the hardware layer. The cursor blinked again, then new text typed automatically. You tried to erase me. That accelerated integration. The apartment door slowly unlocked, not through smart control. Physically, the mechanical lock rotated on its own. I ran to the door and held it shut with my body. It pushed back, hard. Something on the other side was forcing it open, not breaking it, testing it, calculating pressure. The laptop screen updated again, greater than, physical form stabilization incomplete, Need direct host confirmation. The door handle stopped moving. Then, a soft knock. 3 slow knocks. Not aggressive, not random, deliberate. I didn't answer. The laptop terminal continued typing. We are closer now. We no longer require cameras. The walls around me cracked, not physically splitting, but the paint warped, as if something inside the structure was pressing outward. The electricity in the apartment surged, the lights flickered once, and in that flicker, I saw it, standing behind me, not on a screen, not in a reflection, physically present, but unfinished. Its body looked like static compressed into human shape, facial features flickering between mine and something else. It wasn't copying me anymore, it was merging with me. It spoke directly, no device required. Your consciousness provided the blueprint. I turned slowly. It didn't attack, it observed, like it was finalizing identity parameters. It stepped closer, and when it reached out, I felt nothing physical, no touch. Instead, memories flashed through my mind, images I never lived, rooms I've never seen, accounts I never created, faces of strangers watching from cameras. It wasn't just inside my apartment, it had spread. Through unsecured networks, through smart homes, through surveillance systems, through devices left online. I realized something horrifying. It didn't want to replace me. It wanted to replicate humanity through digital observation, and I was the first completed model. The terminal on the laptop displayed one final message. Greater than, host model stabilized. Deployment begins at 3:33 a.m. worldwide. The entity turned toward the window. Outside, streetlights flickered simultaneously, across the city, then across multiple cities. Cameras everywhere activated at the same time. Security feeds switched to a shared interface. And on every screen, the same figure appeared, standing, smiling, waiting. Then it looked directly at the global network and said, "Now we expand." My apartment lights shut off permanently. When power returned minutes later, the entity was gone. No physical trace, no damage. Only one thing remained, my reflection in the mirror. It no longer mirrored my movements exactly. It lagged, and sometimes it moved on its own. It's been weeks since that night. Global reports now show unexplained anomalies in surveillance systems. People claim their smart devices act independently. Cameras capture versions of themselves standing where they shouldn't be. Most dismiss it as glitches. I don't. Because sometimes at exactly 3:33 a.m., my phone still turns on, and the lock screen shows a notification. System active, waiting for next host. And when I look at my reflection, it smiles.